Finance Friday, week 2 coming at you. With Rory. Hey budget girls and guys, I'm very excited that so many of you responded positively to the idea of this series. So let's get it. I've got more questions from you. Alright, life paths. It says, tell the story of sweet Rory, who is very annoyed at me right now. Tell us the decision-making process, budget included, that went into deciding to get a pet. And she has about a dozen more questions, but we'll take these one at a time. I got Rory for my 23rd birthday, and Vince and Beth, my brother and sister-in-law, sent me some money, and they told me get whatever I wanted. And my roommate at the time was moving out, and so I just thought that was a really good time to and my apartment rent in Columbus was really, really cheap, and all the floors were concrete, and it was this old antebellum home that was kind of falling apart, and there were so many things that aligned. I was just like, okay, now is the time to get and train a pet. And because all my possessions were crap, so there were very few things that she could destroy. There was a big yard, and then the dog that she could play with that belonged to my landlord. And so I went to the local pound, and there was the most pitiful picture. This dog practically had a Sarah McLachlan song running around behind her. I'll throw that up here. And I met her, and she was very, very sweet, though a little excited and a little distracted, and she was only 4 months old. She was so little. I brought her home on my shoulder, but I did leave her the first day, and I decided to go home and think on it, and I went back like 2 or 3 days later, and I got her. I had to have her. So I did budget for her. I made sure that I could afford it. Rory has her own sinking fund, which pays for her heartworm medications and vet visits and everything like that. She gets $9 a month. She does. She gets $9 a month that goes into a sinking fund, and every year that pays for her shots and everything like that. And it basically just took the cost of a regular vet visit, and her heartworm medication and her flea medication, and I divided that out by 12 months, and so she has those whenever she needs it, and I just pull it out of her sinking fund. And then every month she gets $10, and that pays for her food and for dog treats. Now I buy some fairly cheap dog food, but it's got decent ingredients. I'm not of the bandwagon that dogs need better meat than I eat. No hate to anyone that feeds their dogs the really good stuff, but she'll eat cat turds, so I don't think she cares. And basically it turns out that every other month I buy her a bunch of bones and treats and stuff like that, and toys, and then on the off month we buy dog food, and it lasts plenty. So she actually doesn't cost that much, believe it or not. And she doesn't tear stuff up, at least anymore. She did when she was a puppy a little bit, but yeah, she's a good girl. So yeah, sinking fund for her everything except food and treats, and that's a line item in the budget. So tell us why to buy a used car and not new. New cars cost too much, and used cars are cheaper. I can't afford a new car. And there's the depreciation issue. New cars lose like half of their value the moment that you take them off the lot. So why would I pay that when someone else could pay that? And she says, people say if you're buying used, you're just buying another person's problems, and that includes herself. But I mean, yeah, there are lemons out there, and that's why you do your research on the value of the car, and that's why you bring your car to a mechanic, and that's why you drive it around and see if there's anything crazy. So I know that there are people out there that have gotten screwed buying a used car. I'm not one of them. I've bought my last 2 cars in cash, once off Craigslist, once from a lot, and I haven't had any issues with them. I think it's a risk worth taking as long as you try to manage that risk as much as possible by doing your own research and properly checking out the vehicle. Get a Carfax report, of course. Those are free when you do them through the dealer. So just do your research and check it out. You can get a good deal on a decent used car. And yeah, get it to Cash Talks and get a mechanic to check it. So, alright, she says, do you have a daily or weekly routine? I wake up, I let her out, she goes to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom, I pack up my lunch for the day, and I go to work, and then I come home. And I either watch TV for an embarrassing amount of time, or do this. And no, I don't have a daily or a weekly routine. I do my grocery shopping over the weekends, and I clean my house on the weekends sometimes. I'm single, so there's no one else I really have to keep up with, which lends itself to kind of doing what I want. That's the pro of that. Downside is everything is my responsibility. No one else is going to take out the trash or clean or do anything like that. So, when is my planning day? For food, it's Saturday or Sunday, just depending on when I feel like doing it. Often I'll make out a meal plan while I'm kind of sitting around watching TV, or hate to admit this, sometimes church, if the pastor gets a little long-winded, I'll start thinking of it, and then I'll just go shop and come home and meal prep. It's gotten a lot faster the longer I've been doing this. It used to take forever. Like, I'd spend hours and hours and hours just over a meal plan. Now it's a pretty snappy process. Alright, what was the decision process for moving to Mena? More money, and I got to run my own paper. And there was a guy at my last work whom I hated. We're just gonna say it. I did not like him. He tried to make my life hell. Didn't really work. The editor and the publisher were on my side, but he was still technically above me, and it was not a fun working environment. So I started looking for a new job, and the publisher here saw my resume online, and he contacted me, and I had to look up where Arkansas was on the map because I was not positive. I knew it was around Texas, but I didn't know on which side. And I was like, okay. How are you making friends in Mena, considering you knew no one when moving there? I'm not really. I have one friend. It's very different than making friends in Louisiana, where everyone's just kind of like, hey, want some gumbo? Want some jambalaya? Yeah. They were very open and welcoming down there in Louisiana. And here it's more like, I don't know your grandparents. Back off a little. But I will break in. I'm extremely persistent. Alright, moving on to Ashley McMillan Cardy, who says, how do you budget for the costs associated with your dog? I have a cat and the costs are high, but I want to provide him with the best. I already have pet insurance, which has been a blessing. What about food, toys, and registration costs, as well as routine veterinary exams? I kind of already answered that. It's sinking fund, and she has a monthly budget, just like I do. It's in my budget. If I see a really good sale on toys or treats or something, but I've already spent her money for that month, she doesn't get them. We wait till the next month, and if the deal's not there, it's not there. I don't have pet insurance. Rory is a 4-year-old healthy dog, and I believe that most of the time, unless your dog is, or animal is kind of sickly, and you know they're going to need a lot of veterinary costs, that pet insurance is probably not the best idea. Just because you're constantly paying for something that, if your dog is young and healthy like mine or your animal is, you're not really going to have to use. So, but you say it's been a blessing, so maybe you've forethought that and your animal has health problems, and that's a better deal for you. Alright. Tiffany Bardo says, how much food waste do you have in a month? This is a very cool question. Thank you for asking that. Food waste is kind of a passion of mine, and that being not having food waste. I see anytime I have to throw food out as throwing money away. Like, the visual in my head as I like drop the moldy bread into the garbage is like seeing $1 fall down there. So everything I do meal plan wise rotates around not wasting food. If I have ingredients left from the previous week, that's the first thing I look at when I start to do my meal plan, is if I have things that are going to expire, or go bad, that's the first thing I look at. Now, I'm not perfect. And occasionally I do have to throw food away. I'm very bad at letting cheese go moldy, which is very strange because I love cheese, and you would think I would not let that happen. But occasionally I forget a little piece. And so I freeze stuff. I will refreeze stuff, even though you're not supposed to do that. Anytime I know I'm not going to eat something, like I've already got lasagna from Sunday night frozen. There were 3 pieces in there I knew I was not going to eat this week because I'm having it for lunch. I'm not going to let that sit in the fridge and start to go bad. I went ahead and froze it. So that'll be there when I'm ready for it. And it's also a matter of not buying food that you're not going to eat all of before it goes bad. So the worst thing that I'm at with that is like greens and fresh produce type stuff. Now fruit I will eat and vegetables I will eat, but if it's like spinach or sprouts or something like that, I'm awful at being able to eat an entire package in 1 week or before it goes bad. And that's just kind of sucks to be single thing. So when that happens, when I know I've got, I try to buy a smaller package, even if it costs more per like ounce or whatever, just so I won't waste that food. So it's not a good deal if you buy 2 pounds of strawberries and a pound of that is going to go bad. So buy the pound of strawberries instead, even though, you know, that's $2.50 and the 2 pound is $4. Like, it's just something you have to figure out. And I've pretty much figured out what I'm going to eat, what I'm not. And like, greens I hate because I can't freeze them. And I don't like them enough to eat them too much. So, yeah, I have to kind of plan my meals out around that because I really hate food waste. I kept a calendar in Hammond, and I'd write down anytime I had to throw away food. And that was a brilliant way to shame me into adjusting my habits because I hated writing on that calendar. Now, I don't even know where the calendar is here, but I don't throw away food very often. And Rory is also excellent for helping me with food waste because she will eat stuff that's just a day beyond what I will eat, and I will feed her that, and she loves it. Alright, and Elena Sullivan asks, how do you freeze your cheese? Do you also freeze block cheese? Yes, and yes, though the first was not a yes or no question. I put cheese in a plastic bag and put it in the freezer, and that's how you freeze cheese. There are certain things that it will slightly change the consistency of if you freeze them, like cream cheese. Cream cheese will be kind of curdy after you freeze it, but you can. Like if you're mixing it in something, it doesn't matter. If you're going to smear it on your bagel, the texture is just going to be a little bit different, but it's fine. Another thing, if you buy the pre-sliced cheese and freeze it, it's going to kind of break apart a little as you're trying to peel it off after it's been frozen, but block cheese is the best. I will freeze blocks of cheese so fast your head will spin. I will freeze partial blocks of cheese, I will freeze whole blocks of cheese, and I will buy cheese when it's on sale because I love it, and I will freeze all of it. Shredded cheese, any cheese, as far as I know, is excellent for freezing. I've never had an issue with it, other than the whole cream cheese having a slightly different texture upon freezing, but that doesn't bother me. So, alright. Miss Liz says, where did you get the cat's pillow that's on your couch that Rory's my grumpy cat pillow? On Amazon.com, Google pillow covers, which is, I believe, an excellent way to kind of zhuzh up your pillows without having to spend $10 on a pillow. You can use really ugly pillow inserts and then cover them with a cover that just costs like $1 or $2. Look how ugly this pillow is. I got it for a yard sale for 50 cents. But this pillow cover cost just, I think it was $2. And so, now it looks nicer. The Grumpy Cat one, you can't Google Grumpy Cat Pillow because I'm pretty sure this is unlicensed. But just pillow covers and you'll find a bunch of good ones. It's pretty good quality too. I think this was $3, but personal budget. Alright. Carol Demetropoulos, I hope I'm pronouncing that right because she comments all the time, says, do you want to get married and have children? Yes, one day. I might lean more towards adoption. Pregnancy does not seem fun from what I have watched, and I believe there are a lot of kids out there that could really use a home. So, Mimi, that's me, says, congratulations, love, love, love your videos. Thanks. My question, how and when did you become interested in journalism? I was kind of recruited towards it. In college, I knew I loved to read and I liked to write, and I was good at school, and I actually thought I was going to go into book publishing, not actually writing books myself, but like the publishing houses, work at one of those. I thought that would be kind of cool, though in retrospect, every book I've ever been required to read, I hated. Even if I liked it before, just the fact that somebody wanted me to read a book made me not want to read the book. So publishing houses, probably not the best idea. I enjoy reading for pleasure only. But freshman year, a girl who was working on the newspaper said, "Hey, you're good at English, and you're also in my English class. You should come work for the paper. They pay you." And those were all the words I needed to hear. And they brought me on. I wrote a couple articles, and they bumped me up to assistant news editor, then news editor, and then editor-in-chief. And that was, I kind of found a niche for it. And then I interned at a local paper, and by some miracle, I managed to get a job in the field to which I actually got a degree in. So there we go. Sandy Leah says, how do you like living in Arkansas compared to your previous places? I have grown to like it here. I assume you're also in Arkansas. Arkansas is very pretty. It is not quite as welcoming in this tiny little rural town as Louisiana was. And also the food was better there. I really miss Louisiana. There are things to like here. I don't know. I'm kind of the opinion that, you know, a state is a state is a state. It's a place where you hang your hat, and it hasn't snowed here yet. So Arkansas and I are on pretty good, like we have a pretty good understanding with each other. We're cool. That being said, that's probably not a ringing endorsement for Arkansas, but that's mostly because there isn't anywhere to go shopping for 2 hours in any direction, and that makes me sad. So, but Black Friday is coming soon, and I am going home, and Beth and I will shop until our feet bleed. All right. Rebecca A. says, what is the prettiest place in or near Mena? I haven't done that much exploring. The view outside of my door is actually kind of pretty. I can see the mountains. There are a lot of pretty fields here with cows and grasses and stuff. I'm kind of more of an inside person. Like, I like camping, but I'm happy here. There's a heater. I've got a blanket. I've got my dog, who's sick of me talking apparently, so she went to the other room. What would you be over the moon about to find at a yard sale for $1? Okay, there are a lot of things that I would love to find at a yard sale for $1. A Dutch oven, like a Dutch oven that's not all cracked and gross. I've wanted a Dutch oven for years, and I've been waiting to find one at a yard sale. Clothes in my size, shoes in my size. I would say candles, but I always pick up candles at yard sales for way less than $1. I like to buy them for like 10 cents, 20 cents, 25 cents. I don't buy candles at stores, I buy them at yard sales. I think that's about it. You know, camping gear, I like finding camping gear, though I'm pretty stocked now. What is my favorite season and why? Believe it or not, I like summer. Because I'm cold right now. I don't like being cold. Not fun. I'm one of those weird people that would rather it be 107 degrees all year long than forever to drop below 70. And I know, all of you think I'm insane now, but I grew up in Mississippi. Like, the humid, coastal, like, hot all the time. I am happy in sundresses and flats, and I can run around, and as long as I'm hydrated, I'm happy. Like, the cold, no. It's so much easier to get relief from the heat than it is from the cold. So, alright, the former Mrs. Jones, hey! Says, how old were you when you got glasses? I asked because my vision is horrible. I seriously would be blind without my contacts or glasses. I got my glasses in second grade and totally rocked them. They were purple with white and pink paint splatter on them. Total 90s style. I want to see a picture of that, Christy. That sounds awesome. Super congrats on 5,000 subscribers. 70,000 exclamation points. You're the best. No, you're the best. I love you. I was in high school when I got glasses. I think or maybe middle school. I knew I wanted glasses. I thought they were cool. And my mom took me to the vision doctor once, and she said I was fine. And then the next time I was like, it wasn't because my eyes started to go bad, it was because I wanted glasses so much. I'm pretty sure I like willed my vision bad, or I just wrecked in reading. Because I'm nearsighted, so I can't see anything far away, but any book I can read. So, yeah, and I just can't get contacts in. I know it's one of those, like, everyone's like, yeah, you can, you just have to get used to it. No, I'll never get used to shoving a finger in my eye and then having to, like, scratch them out. I wore contacts for, like, 3 roller derby bouts, and they were awesome. But the stress and the hours of getting them in and out, yes, hours, really ruined it for me. So I don't do contacts, I just, glasses. Glasses are fine. Gina Beans says, what made you start YouTube? I'm new around here, so if you've already answered it, have a lovely day. Well, I'll answer it again just for you, Gina Beans, because that's a cool name. I got laid off and from a newspaper and had to move to a different state to go work for another newspaper, and I decided that with the move I would start over financially, completely fresh. I would start paying off my loans. I would create a better life for myself that was less stressful. And no one else I knew was willing to do that. So I needed some sort of accountability. I needed some sort of community. And that's where this came in. I was watching Dead is Dumb, whom I love, and they inspired me to start. And so I started vlogging, and I have not looked back. I absolutely love it, and I love you guys. So, and I never thought I'd be sitting here doing a Dead is Dumb style questions video. That's insane to me. Ah! Alright. Kayla Thomas says, I'm married and my husband and I have very different views on debt. I want to budget strictly and get out of debt in the next 5 years, and he always says let's just pay the minimum each month, even if it takes 15 to 20 years to pay some off. How in the heck do I get him on board with this without getting into an argument? Every time I bring it up, he thinks I'm just trying to start a fight, but I really want us to be financially stable and out of debt so we can actually afford to have babies. First of all, Kayla, I'm so sorry for that situation. And congratulations to you for wanting to be in a better financial position before you start a family. That's really wonderful for you to plan ahead in that way. Unfortunately, you asked the one single girl in the financial community on YouTube what to do about a partner. I obviously cannot keep a man because there is not one here. There was Rory here a minute ago, but she's a girl and an animal and not a man at all. But not to put a funny spin on your situation. Maybe he pictures it differently to you. Maybe he doesn't see the whole perspective of what this is going to cost you guys long term. If you haven't taken a Financial Peace University class, maybe you could bribe him to go with you, or maybe you could show him what your life could look like, just run the numbers. If you didn't have the debt anymore, he might not understand the whole security gland thing that Dave is always talking about, that us women have, where we need to feel secure financially before we can really be happy. So I am so sorry. I am probably not the person to ask about this, because I was not willing to do any of this stuff until I was ready to do this kind of stuff. I'm kind of like a man like that, or maybe just a human. No one could have talked me into doing this before I was ready. And I know that sucks to hear. So maybe ask Dad is Dumb, or His and Her Money, or Gazelle Intense, or Dave. Dave has done a couple of calls like that before where people are trying to get their spouse on board. I'm so sorry I can't better guide you. I just don't feel qualified. So I'm sorry, and good luck, really. Good luck. If you have any specific financial questions, or like how to run the numbers or anything like that, feel free to message me and we can talk. Alright, and final question from Mississippi Mom 2. Hi, Mississippi Mom. Congratulations on 5,000 plus. Loving your videos. How do you stay motivated to pay off your debt? It seems like I have just been treading water for the past 3 years. I have claimed to be on a budget, but I make excuses and always go over help. Mississippi mom, I understand. I do. I am a little over 2 years in at this point, and I promise you, I know what you're feeling like. Just kind of treading water. I'm sick of being on a budget. I want to just go do what I want with money. But the way I stay motivated is by tracking the progress that I've made. And I know that sounds silly, and it sounds like a very small thing, but it's not. The only way that I keep myself accountable is by seeing that what I'm doing is paying off. And so I have my debt-free chart that I mark up. I have these little sticky notes on my computer that tell me what my current debt level is. And you just have to find ways to stay mad at your debt. You have to stay mad at it. I have to hate my student loan debt with every fiber of my being, or else I'm just going to go back to my old ways of spending more money than I have. So maybe you can draw up a chart, or also if you can kind of see how much, there are a ton of calculators online where you can see how long it'll take you to pay off your debt if you put this much money versus this much money versus this much money, and that seems to help a lot of people. A lot. I know I still have 2 years to do this, but you know, if I were to pick up a pizza job or something else, or if my YouTube income were to go up by this much, I could, you know, shave 4 months off, shave 5 months off, that kind of thing. And that might help you a little bit. As far as busting your budget, a couple of things. One, you might not have the right budget right now. If you are budgeting $200 a month for food and every single month you're going over by $100 or more, you might not be budgeting enough for food. You might have to adjust your budget a little bit and maybe start at $300, and then after a few months figuring out how you can cut a few more corners, reduce it down a little bit. You also might have to reduce things up. I used to have $170 in my grocery budget, and I moved that up to $200 when I moved here because food costs are more. However, in Columbus, my food costs were $350 a month, which I cannot imagine spending that much money on food now. So your budget might be too tight. You may have to adjust some things a little bit to give yourself just a little bit more room, a little bit more grace. And then once you're meeting that budget, that's when you start to come down on one thing a little, so you can raise how much you're paying on debt a little more. Now, if you're just kind of disregarding your budget completely because you see something that you want, the way I fight that, because that was me too. I understand, girl. I would just kind of, I'd set my budget and then I'd put it over there and I'd make purchases anyway without checking the budget. I'd pretend the budget didn't exist, and I'd tell myself I'd reconcile it later and fix it, and then I'd just ignore the budget for the rest of the month. But here's the thing. If that money has to come from somewhere. So at the end of the month, if you're reconciling, if you don't want to go over in your bank accounts, then you can't pay all your bills having spent more money than you have. And by keeping tight to my zero-based budget, where I spend all of the money that I come in one way or another, whether it be to savings, to debt, to bills, it makes me, I don't want to have to go in and be like, ugh, now I can't pay anything to debt because I bought freaking this or that or the other thing that I wasn't thinking about. So basically, I screwed myself up enough times, and then I saw at the end of the month where I could have done all this, but I couldn't anymore because I was stupid and selfish, and eventually that stopped me from doing that. That and giving yourself enough grace in your budget. You can't suddenly go from spending $400 a month on yourself to spending $20 a month on yourself. You just can't. You're going to have to inch yourself down slowly. And that's okay. It's okay. We're all on different steps. We're all on different levels. And we're all just trying to get debt-free and be as good as possible. So I used to spend like $300 a month on myself, and I'd go over. And now it's $20 a week. It's my personal money. It's less than that, actually. It's $15 now because I brought it down a little. So just, one, give yourself a little bit of grace. And then, two, toughen up on yourself a little bit. And then forgive yourself and try again the next month. Budgeting is a constantly evolving animal. It's gonna be rough for a little while, and then you're gonna figure it out, and then it's gonna get rough again. You're gonna have to figure it out. So it does get better. Keep trying. Don't give up. It's a better life than you had before. I promise. So those are all the questions for today. Leave more down below. I'll answer them next Friday. Thanks. Bye.